Good afternoon, guys. Okay, so this is one I was kind of thinking about this morning here, and as things I've got to do around, I'm like, gee, forgot about that part. And it brought me up to an idea of a prep, probably one of many, that I probably bet most of us don't have enough of, I guess is the best way to do it. Now, we're all good about getting whatever tools we need. You know, it's like, oh, people say, don't forget a hand can opener or get yourself a mill grinder or make sure you've got hand saws or whatever it is. And we're all good about that. But some of the most important tools we have, we need to protect. Okay? Most important tool any of us have, these. Okay? Basically, the opposable thumb is what sets us apart from every other creature on the face of the earth. Okay, it's the reason we can do so many things that we can do. We have the ability to grab, but protecting your hands is something that a lot of us really don't think about unless the case arises. You know, oh, it's wintertime. I've got to put some gloves on to protect my hands from the cold. Sure, okay. Or, gee, I'm going out in the garden. I want to protect my hands from getting dirty. I've got to put some gloves on. But think about this in a prepper's mentality, okay? What kind of things are you going to be doing? You know, you put gloves on to keep your hands warm in the winter, okay? Yeah, having multiple pairs of winter gloves would be a good thing. You know, again, I'll mention this. Sewing is a good skill. I doubt many of us have the skills, some of course do, but I doubt many of us have the skills to sew gloves for a lot of these scenarios I'm going to bring in, okay? So you need to get them ahead of time. So, okay, the ones for cold weather. Sure, you know, somebody could knit mittens or something like that. That one's not overly difficult. But let's think of some of the other stuff, all right? I mentioned gardening. You want to have gloves for gardening. Why? Well, you want to keep your hands clean, especially in SHTF, because disease, there isn't going to be medicine or a doctor to go to, you know, and we've all heard this thing. How many times do you touch your face a day? Okay. You'd be amazed. I mean, nobody can count because you do it so many times you don't even realize it. I go back and I watch my videos and I look how many times I touch my face during a video. Okay. But, okay, so you need to have some sort of gardening gloves, you know, which again, maybe fabric gloves or those rubber coated gloves, you know, to keep your hands clean because you're sticking your hand in the mud and the manure and whatever's in there, okay? But then think of some of the other things that you're getting into. How about latex gloves or nitrile gloves or something like that? Yeah, you're gonna need to have some of those too. Any sort of medical situation where you've got blood, you know, that you want to deal with, or, you know, any, like I said, any sort of place where you could spread infection or catch an infection. Like I said, medical scenario, you know, you've got to stitch up a wound or something. Why do you think doctors wear gloves? Okay, it's not because it makes it easier to do surgery, it's for cleanliness. But, you know, think of another one here. If we go into a full-blown SHTF, all right, and I'll mention, you know, many things. The movie I talked about this morning, any movie, if you will, you know, go back and 1 second after or whatever, there are going to be corpses around. You are going to have to move those corpses. You are not going to just let them rot in the sun. You ever been around what a smelly body? Things like you don't want that around anywhere, okay? You are not going to want to be touching that. I mean, hell, there are a lot of people, think about it. There's a dead squirrel on your driveway. You go out there with a shovel, you don't want to pick it up, okay? You certainly aren't going to want to go out with your bare hands and grab a dead body, okay, to dispose of, however, whether it's burying it, whether it's burning it, whatever it would be, but you got to get rid of it, okay? Yeah, I know everybody will say the buzzard's got to eat too, but you don't want that, you're not wanting that around your house, okay? So keep on going on to the next one. How about leather gloves? You're going to be using a chainsaw, chances are, okay? You're going to need wood continually. You're going to need some sort of blacksmithing skills inevitably, okay? Where somebody's going to, ever seen a guy out, doing blacksmithing work that didn't have gloves on? How about any sort of welding? You're going to need those gloves, right? Then you get into things like aluminized gloves, Kevlar gloves. Those are going to be very important too to prevent you from cutting fingers off, okay? A AR-15 is completely useless if you don't have this, okay? Just putting it out there, all right? So, think about any sort of situation that you're going to get into and how you're going to protect your hands. Sure, we all cook and everything with, in the kitchen right now. You've got your nice little rubber-handled Farberware or Pioneer Woman cookware or whatever it is. That's great. In an SHTF situation where you're outside cooking over an open fire because that's all you got and you're using your cast iron skillet, ever put your hand on a cast iron handle when you're making scrambled eggs? Not a good idea. You need to have something in between you and the handle because that thing gets hot, okay? So, as you're out doing your Christmas shopping and looking for gifts for the kids, gifts for the spouse, whatever it is, you think, hey, what? Gloves are a good idea. You always see the commercials at Christmas. Isotoner gloves, guaranteed they'll be on again this year somewhere. Think about the kind of gloves that are actually going to be useful in an SHTF. They're not that expensive, but in a grid down situation, in a full-blown oh crap situation, yeah, they're going to be highly, highly sought after and extremely needed. Don't go out and buy yourself one pair of gloves. Buy yourself 3 or 4. Hey, if they're $10 a piece, I think I showed you one time those welder's gloves that I've got, whatever. I think those cost me about $8. Okay, they weren't terribly expensive. I got them at Harbor Freight, but get yourself a few pairs because of just like everything else. Eventually, things run out and or wear out, and if there's no store, there's no place to go get more. And like I said, you're not going to be able to make more. Unless, of course, it's the latest joke like PETA, who came out with the mock website of Urban Outraged. If anybody saw this, it's fake, but they're like, because you know how PETA is. But it's like, here's handbags, here's gloves made out of human skin. Yes, I'm not kidding. It's actually real. Now, you can't really buy the product, but PETA actually put up a website like that. So, little laugh to end it all. So, all right, guys, have a good Tuesday afternoon. We'll see you tonight. Pinball out.